Hey, welcome back to The Explainer. So there is a ton of chatter right now about a crypto project a lot of people, maybe even you, had kind of written off. Yep, we're talking about Cardano. Today we're digging into its absolutely wild comeback. Is this for real? Is it gonna last? And what in the world is behind it all? All right, let's just jump right in with the number that's making everyone's head spin. 201%. I mean, think about that. At its peak, that's Cardano's year-on-year growth. A number like that, well, it doesn't just happen. It needs some serious explaining. So here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll look at the comeback story itself. Then we'll check out the price charts. We'll go under the hood with the market data, get to the real why behind this whole thing, and wrap up with where Cardano is right now, which, you'll see, is a pretty big crossroads. Okay, Section 1, the comeback. You know, for the longest time, Cardano had this reputation, right? The slow and steady, super academic, almost sleepy project. But wow, something has definitely flipped the switch, and it's back in the spotlight in a huge way. And look, this isn't just some random pump. It's really the culmination of years of that slow, careful, peer-reviewed development finally meeting a perfect storm of market conditions. It's like all that groundwork suddenly hit the launchpad. It's no longer just a research project. It's a real contender now.
All right, so now let's get into the what of this whole rally. Let's pull up the price charts and see what story they're telling us. What's the momentum actually look like?
So this is huge. ADA smashed right through the $1 barrier. And that's not just a number, you know? It's a massive psychological level. Crossing that $1 mark is like a signal flare. It gets a ton of new eyes on the project, brings in fresh buyers, and really changes the narrative.
Okay, so what's next on the map? Well, all eyes are on these key levels. The next big test is 115. If ADA can clear that hurdle and, stay there for a bit, it really opens the door to that 130, 140 range. And yeah, some of the super bullish folks are even talking about $2 plus down the road. But price charts only tell you what happened. They don't tell you how healthy the engine is. To really get that, we need to pop the hood and look at the market mechanics to see what's actually driving this thing.
First up, there's this term you gotta know: open interest. Basically, just think of it as the total number of bets on Cardano's future price. The higher the open interest, the more money and leverage are piled into this trade. Simple as that. And the other piece of this puzzle is something called the funding rate. This is pretty cool. It's like a live sentiment meter for the market. When that rate is super high and positive, it means the bulls are so confident they're literally paying the bears just for the privilege of staying in their long positions. It's a huge sign of bullish conviction.
Okay, so now that we know about open interest and funding rates, let's put it to use. How does Cardano's rally actually look when you put it side by side with some of the other big players? Is this a healthy run, or is it getting a little frothy?
And this chart tells a fascinating story. You look at Solana and it's bullish, but it looks pretty healthy, pretty stable. XRP, not much going on there. It's a light vehicle, easy to move. But Cardano, well, that's where you see a little warning light blinking. Both open interest and the funding rate have shot up like a rocket. That's the classic sign of a trade getting very crowded with borrowed money.
So, what does this all mean? It means the rally is definitely real. The momentum is there. But, and this is a big but, it's running on a lot of high-octane leverage. That creates a short-term risk. If the price stumbles even a little bit, it could set off a domino effect of liquidations and cause a really sharp, painful drop, so something to watch out for.
Okay, we've looked at the what and the how, but now we get to the most important part, the real meat of the story, the why. What are the fundamental reasons lighting a fire into this thing?
It really comes down to a perfect storm of three things happening all at once. You've got the timing, you've got the location, or, the regulatory environment, and you've got the people. The project itself finally being ready to shine.
So let's unpack that. First, timing. The market is betting big, like an 88% chance big, that the Fed's going to cut rates next year. That usually means money flows out of safer stuff and into riskier assets, like crypto. Then geography. The SEC basically gave Cardano the green light in the US, saying it's not a security. That is a massive deal because it removes a huge roadblock for big institutions. And finally, the project itself. It just hit its final major phase, Voltaire, making it fully decentralized, a huge technical and philosophical milestone.
But okay, if those three things were the kindling that lit the fire, this next catalyst was like pouring a whole can of gasoline on it. I'm talking about the massive, massive expectation of a spot Cardano ETF.
And let me be clear, this is not just some rumor floating around on Twitter. This is real. The process is officially on. Grayscale, the biggest asset manager in the game, has officially filed the paperwork, and the SEC has acknowledged it. That means the review clock has officially started ticking. And just look at how confident the market is. We're talking prediction markets, which, by the way, are often scarily accurate, giving this thing an 85% chance of approval next year. That is an absolutely huge vote of confidence from people putting their money where their mouth is.
So with all this insane momentum, both in the market and in the fundamentals, Cardano finds itself at a really critical crossroads. It's this moment where you have to balance all of that future promise against, well, today's reality. And that brings us to the million-dollar question, doesn't it? The one you're probably asking yourself right now. Is all this hype getting ahead of the actual reality? Is this rally built on a rock-solid foundation, or is it just hope?
When you look at the data from the blockchain itself, you get two completely different stories. It's kind of wild. On the one hand, you have this incredibly bullish signal. The big money, the whales, they are stacking ADA like crazy. We're talking over $900 million worth being moved off exchanges into cold storage this year alone. That screams long-term belief. But then, on the other hand, the daily active users, the people actually using the network, that number just isn't growing at anywhere near the same pace as the price.
And I think this quote just nails it. It's like everyone is rushing to buy apartments in this incredible new skyscraper based on the beautiful blueprints and the promise of what it's going to be. But when you look inside, not many people are actually living in it yet. So that's where we're at. And it leaves us with this final, massive question hanging in the air. What's going to be the thing that truly defines Cardano's future? Is it going to be the ETF money flooding in from Wall Street? Will it be a technical game changer, like its Hydra scaling solution finally going live? Or will it come down to a real organic explosion of daily users who finally move into that beautiful building? Whichever one it is, the answer is going to write the next chapter for Cardano.